As we go through the process of building this bow out of this rough piece of ironwood, I'm really reminded just of the beauty of the transformation that happens as this rough stave gets turned into a beautiful bow. It's simple. It's not a complicated design, but I really love that about it as well. Just the simplicity of a self bow that can take big game. Just a simple stick and a string. And ironwood is such an interesting wood. I really only recently began playing with ironwood, even though it's very common in my area here in Wisconsin. But I'm especially just like the heaviness of the bow, the durability, the hardness of it. It is definitely one of the harder woods that I've worked with. Certainly the name Ironwood would lend itself to us thinking that. And similar to hickory, but perhaps even a little harder. But it takes it heat treating well also. And when you take a bow that's already hard, it's already a strong bow wood, and then you're able to harden that belly even more, the belly of the bow, through fire hardening. Here I just used the heat gun, but it worked well. It's just interesting how you can improve the performance of the bow through just that simple process of heat treating or hardening, and you make a well-performing bow even better performing. And I love that about the heat treating process, which works really good with a lot of the whitewood bows. And it's just a reminder to me that in life, there's a lot of hard things. There's a lot of fires, so to speak, that we go through, a lot of trials, and especially as a Christian, as one that claims to follow Christ. We're not promised that we're going to miss out on trials, that God's going to spare us from the trial, but rather that He'll keep us through the trial. And He wants to use them to make us more like Christ. And, the Apostle Paul talks about that in his letter to Timothy. He tells him to endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. And, we got to remember that we are in a spiritual battle here in this world. And the enemy is seeking to come at us with just a number of attacks daily, really. Fiery darts, we're told in Ephesians, the fiery darts of the wicked one. And then just normal life is hard. With this a sin-cursed world, we face death of loved ones, we face sickness and disease, we face injuries and hardships with finances, hardships with relationships. There's just so much that challenges us that it really feels like you're going through a fire. And the same way the bow, it takes some heat. It takes some heat on the belly of the bow, and it, I'm sure that it is not. If that bow were able to talk and tell us, it's not pleasant. It hurts. Obviously it's a piece of wood, but you get what I'm saying. It's not something that we enjoy when we go through the fire. And yet God uses those trials, those fires, to make us more like Christ, to strengthen us. Remember, James talks about the trying of your faith being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire. And that's why we're called to rejoice in trials. Trials are going to come. Testings. The bow takes a lot of force and bending, wood being removed, in the tillering process, where we get those limbs to bend equally, and prepare that bow for shooting. That's not a nice process either. If you're the bow, wood's being removed, you have to be constantly you're constantly being flexed and tested and pulled, and yet it's all making it into a better hunting weapon. It's making it more effective. An untillered bow is not effective. It's really at the point of breaking at any moment, because it's the limbs of the bow are not taking the weight equally. And so I think God does that with us as well. He tests us, he tries us, and sometimes he has to take some things from us. We have to understand that. We have to be ready to give up things God knows that we are not helpful in our Christian life. And when we remember that we belong to Christ, the things of earth shouldn't be as dear to us. We should be treasuring Christ above all in service to him. And that's easy to say, but it's harder to do. And for myself as well. I'm not just preaching to you guys. I'm talking to myself here as well. It's hard to face temptations and trials and to have things taken from us. Yet we need to just trust the Master, the one who gave his life for us. Remember, Christ died on the cross for us. He gave his life for us to redeem us, to buy us back. The bow, it belongs to you or to me, whoever the maker of that bow is. We've created it for a purpose. We've created it for our use, whether it be hunting or target shooting. We don't necessarily make it just to sit on a shelf and look pretty, or what have you. It's made for a purpose. It's made for service, and we have been redeemed by God through Christ Jesus for a purpose, to serve him, to live for him. And we're going to go through some trials in that process of becoming like Christ. That we never fully get there this side of heaven. But that is the goal, to become more and more like Christ each day. And I hope and pray that you guys will, as you go through those trials, remember that they're there to draw us to God, to draw us to Christ, to make us to conform into his image. And keep your eyes on the Lord. Keep your eyes on him today. And let the trials bring you closer to God. Remember what Job said. He said, "The Lord knoweth the way that I take, and when he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold."